Hi, I'm standing on the corner of Jackdaw Lane and Iffley Road. That's Greyfriars Roman Catholic opposite, and that is the Fir Tree Tavern, the nearest pub for reference. And that's Bullingdon Road, which goes up to Cowley Road. And I'm going to walk down Jackdaw Lane and then connect up with what must be a very old, track originally called Meadow Lane, and follow it all the way into Iffley Village, and then end, after a little bit of connection, the same sort that I'm doing now, just to show you what Meadow Lane joins onto. People who live round here will know Meadow Lane, not least because there's a school alongside part of it, but if you're further away you may not, and it's quite a nice walk and it connects with the various interesting areas, so it's worth knowing. So now I'm going to walk down Jackdaw Lane. And this references a historic name, Roger Bannister, the first guy to run the 4-minute mile. At the end of this track, there's a patch of land called Aston's Eyot, spelt EYOT, and the name Eyot, it's a river island, particularly used of islands in the Thames. And I think it's possible to follow the Charwell on the right, all the way back, at least as far as Donnington Bridge on the High Street. I'm not saying that it's actually legally possible, because I think it's private Christchurch land, but I did read a suggestion that Christchurch should be encouraged to build a footpath, public footpath, so that everybody can do this and not have to walk on Iffley Road to get down here. Of course, it's very unlikely that Christchurch would do such a thing. The colleges over the past century or so have been more about closing footpaths and bridges than opening them. Magdalen apparently closed a lot of bridges over its bits of the Charwell, for example. Anyway, now I'm on Meadow Lane. And there's this word eyot, E-Y-O-T. And there's a big recreation ground here. These are the backs of houses on various bits of road that run between Meadow Lane and Iffley Road, and there are side roads off to the left that cross those roads in places. There's this word "eight" again. What's that? Well, whatever it is, it's free. And you have probably now seen and heard the word "eight" more times in 10 minutes than you will in the next 10 years. It's another glorious day, hot, not terribly still, but the sun takes the edge off the wind. But it's just lovely to have so much uninterrupted sunshine. And I've been doing spring walk videos where I look at the signs of spring appearing. This isn't one of those, really, because I'm not looking for anything in particular, except in the weak sense that spring enables me to do this walk with pleasure, and it's about the first time I've been able to since maybe last October. I know it's trite to say so these days, but I don't know why so many children want holiday camps. We just roamed around on the hills, which stood me in very good stead for doing these walks now. Now, I'm not quite sure about the original course of Meadow Lane here. There is certainly a track called Meadow Lane on the other side of the main road that's coming up, which is Donnington Bridge Road. But Google Maps also shows Meadow Lane going off to the right, probably down there. Of course, Donnington Bridge Road is fairly recent, and there would once have been a continuous track crossing where it now is, and that could have gone across in all sorts of places, probably movable to cope with floods. That's one of the side streets that goes up and eventually hits Iffley Road, and you can go off it to the left at least, I'm not sure about the right. Bedford Street. Nice place to sit and have coffee in the morning. Now it might be that is the one on Google Maps that is Meadow Lane. But Google doesn't give a lot of information. It probably would if somebody were sitting on there and advertising, but they're not. This is another nature reserve. The Kidneys Nature Park, Oxford City Council.
Yeah, I could have got a new one, but it was only a little bit more than the price of this one.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, only a little bit less than the price of a complete new one.
Okay.
So I thought I'd be better getting a slightly more up-to-date, brand new one
Makes sense.
than a refurbed older one.
Yeah.
And actually, it's not because it's breaking; it's because the seal has gone around the screen. Seems like a known problem or something.
Okay. Yeah. What is that?
That looks like a lot of allotment plots.
You can't possibly.
That's Fairacres Road, also going up to Iffley Road. And yes, this is Fairacres Road allotments. And I'm now coming up to Donnington Bridge Road.
Careful of this person.
Esther, now you're in front of me.
Sorry, no public parking. FBC regrets that it cannot permit the public to use this car park. We neither wanted nor expected to be given responsibility for the car park, but had this imposed upon us. We have asked the city to convert it to a public pay and display, and hope that this will happen soon. Regards, FBC. FBC must be something or other boat club. Falcon Rowing and Canoeing Club. Established 1869. So that is Falcon Rowing and Canoeing Club. That notice about not wanting to run a car park reminds me quite strongly of a similarly rather pathetic notice disclaiming responsibility that I saw on the outskirts of Brindisi once when I was travelling between Greece and Northern Europe. I was working in Athens and had to get back. But I got the impression that Brindisi city authorities were trying to disclaim responsibility for just about everything. Right, so this is Donnington Bridge Road. I've been on Donnington Bridge before, so I'm not going to linger here now. I'll just point out that it connects with Iffley Road up there and with the Abingdon Road along there. And now I'm going to continue along Meadow Lane. And note, people who don't come here very often, that there's a little cafe shop here with seats that you can relax at while drinking your coffee. Now I do wonder whether this road was built or built for housing before Donnington Bridge Road, and maybe in that case these houses used to continue straight across. There's something similar about the style, I think. In which case one or two poor people may have had their houses compulsorily knocked down to make room for Donnington Bridge Road, but don't quote me on that because it's just a guess. Now I'm walking towards Iffley Village, and I will have to turn left eventually. And I think I should keep my mouth shut because the wind is blowing up huge whirlwinds of dust. Good, well I think I'm now past the risk of being asphyxiated by dust. And I pointed just then at a signboard for Salter's steamers. Salters have a lot of presence on the river. They've got buildings, offices at Folly Bridge where you can book cruises to Iffley Lock at Sandford and Abingdon, and during the cruise months you'll see them regularly going up and down the Thames, the Isis, the Oxford bit of the Thames. Somebody giving away plant pots and a few other things. Cushion, handcrafted Chinese sky lantern. I've no idea what this is. And I don't really know what this is either. I think it's a tin. No, I think it's... I'm not sure, but I probably don't need it anyway. Well, no, the tin might be useful for keeping dried goods in, so I've taken it. I don't think I need an 8-ball or a Chinese lantern. Hi.
Welcome to take.
Yeah, the householder came out just then. I was just thanking him. Right, so let's continue up Meadow Lane. This is rough enough along the sides to remind me of lanes that I knew as a child. It's nice. And those look like pink bluebells. And these look like ordinary bluebells that aren't pink. This is one of those things that I've remarked on in other videos, but this is a very striking specimen. The leaves have red stems, or at least some of them do, but they feel very tough and smooth and robust. And these bits, I wouldn't be surprised if they're modified leaves, but they feel much softer. Not as soft as petals, but certainly softer than the leaves. And I don't know what they're for. I don't think they're modified petals, but maybe they're modified, they're bits called bracts that you get, I think, at the bottom of petals. And I don't know whether the plant is going to have flowers here or not, but I don't quite see the point of having the red bits unless they're meant to attract some sort of pollinating insect. Ah, there are some flowers. Actually, it doesn't seem to have very many flowers, so I'm not quite sure what it's doing. Somebody leave a comment, please, telling me what this is and what it gets from having these lovely red bits. Oh, and that's just nice in a very uncomplicated sort of way. Magnolia. Those are striking.
No time to do any of the, like, I think it's just, yeah, like,
If anyone wants to buy a house in Meadow Lane, here's your chance. A message from Barhale to Iffley residents, 31st of March 2025. The Wedge Block Project. Our work in Iffley Village. Early investigative works show an increase in the size of the fatberg within your sewer, thereby requiring an earlier start to the scheduled works. Thames Water have now authorised Barhale to mobilise and start cleaning. To set your mind at rest, we have recently completed environmental checks throughout the area prior to our mobilisation to ensure there will be no impact on the natural environment in the area. And we will continue to work collaboratively with the Friends of Iffley Village and Friends of the Field Iffley to keep you informed as our works progress. So soon, more Barhale project team members will be working for you here. Please feel free to say hello. Sincerely yours, the Barhale project team. Barhale's corporate goal is to provide an ideal customer experience. Key objectives throughout the life cycle of our projects include working with affected communities to help them understand the investment being made, and that we will make every effort to minimise disruption and disturbance. So now I've turned the corner and this last stretch of Meadow Lane goes up into Iffley Village. Berry Mead, 1957. Oh, those smell wonderful. I'd like to distill them and drink them. Bearwood Cottage. Now, I'm not sure exactly what some people are worried about happening here, or whether it's connected with Barhale and the works down there. 60,000 plus people want to save Iffley's last 45 acres of ancient meadows. Iffleywoods.org. Join us we live here, protect our homes, and then there's pictures of a lot of different types of animal. And these must be the meadows in question. So if you get a chance, especially if you have money or political abilities or environmental knowledge, look up iffleywoods.org. This must be, I think the name was David Good. He is the one inhabitant of Meadow Lane who's down on Google Maps as a sculptor. And there's a seat here where I sometimes come and sit. It's very nice in weather like this. Lots of building work here since I was last down Meadow Lane. And as the sign suggests, I'm now coming on to Church Way, which is the main street through Iffley. And just as I walked down Jackdaw Lane, at the other end I'll walk a little way up Church Way to show you what Meadow Lane joins onto. If you go down there, then you eventually come to a path off the right and that'll take you down to the Thames. There's at least one pub on the left, probably two, I think, the Tree Hotel and the Prince of Wales. And going on this way takes us back to Iffley Road. If you look up a video I did last November or so, look up Poundland, one word, on my channel. I walked along the Thames and then came off it at Iffley Village and walked along to Cowley Centre and Poundland, a shop there that I wanted to get to. And that shows you what happens if you go that direction out of Iffley. You come to a rather isolated little cluster of houses in the middle of a lane called Tree Lane, and then you go on to Rose Hill and Cowley Centre, and that is a nice walk. Iffley has one shop, not very far south of where I am now, that is behind me, and I don't think it stays open particularly late, maybe 4 o'clock, but it sells ice cream and bread and other useful things. So if you've come off the Thames and don't know the area and want something to eat or drink, it's worth going to. Days like this, I always think of the Greek word for spring, which is anixi. E is the, and anixi comes from a word meaning opening, and that is very appropriate on days like this. It's the reopening of possibilities to get outside and enjoy the countryside. So this is Iffley Turn, and if I walk down there I'll get onto Iffley Road, and if I were to walk further along Iffley Road I'd come to Donnington Bridge Road. There's a community centre on the left of Iffley Road there, and if I were to walk back along Donnington Bridge Road I'd come back to Meadow Lane, and then I could either turn right and go up to Jackdaw Lane or left and redo the bit that I've just taken. So I'm going to end here. That was Jackdaw Lane, Meadow Lane and Church Lane in Iffley. See you next time.